Eustace, president and founder of Eustace Consulting, graduated from Wentworth with a bachelor's in computer science in 1999. A lot of you were just born, I think, at that point in time. So I'm just going to go through, talk a little bit about who we are, what we do. I'll talk a little bit about my career path, how I found my way here. I'll tell you myself and everyone else that was in my graduating class never would have expected me to be standing up here doing this, ever. And especially me, I'm surprised that I am, right? It's just really strange how certain events in your life can really change, and it's pretty fun. So I'll go ahead and start this up.
It should come on, yeah.
There we go. All right, that's our logo. I used a crowdsourcing tool about 5 years ago and had 130 designs or so, and got to select them and hone them down, and that's what ended up. So we've had that for about 5 years. This was me this morning. I went away this past weekend, and I came back, and these three lovely gentlemen in the back decided it would be fun to wrap my entire office up in saran wrap. So I did what any smart guy would do, is I made them unpack it all and set up a TV in my room and undo all the plastic. So these are the fun things that you can do when you're a manager. So are most people here seniors, juniors, freshmen, kind of all over the place?
Why don't you guys both do it in order? How many of you are first-year students in whatever major you're in? Great. How many of you are second-year students in whatever major you're in? Okay, so just a few. And how many are third years? Okay, a few. And fourth-year students? Okay, so it gets less and less.
The next slide that I have here is probably not relevant to a lot of you, but I can try to make it a little bit more relevant. So before you graduate and we run into I was talking to a few of you in the next room while we were waiting for this room to be open. And I couldn't even think of when the semester started, because once you leave school, it's just one flat road. Like, you do not really have any breaks unless you're taking paid time off, like a week here or there. And that was a big adjustment. But I was going to say, for the people that were graduating, but there aren't many here, that you have this big celebration when you finish college, or you're having fun with all your peers and all your friends right now, right? And do you want to go from that to this? This is a cube farm, right? And I lived my life in a cube farm for 10 years, and it was horrible. I started this company. Actually, let me change that. Let me tell you a little bit about the perks that you get for working in corporate America. You get casual Fridays. You can wear jeans to work on Fridays. There's red tape galore. You never get anything done. You spin your wheels in the mud and don't get anything done. Egos galore. There are people all over the place that think they're smarter than you, better than you, faster than you, richer than you. Hurry up and wait, so get that project done. Okay, that's on hold. And last but not least, you get an 8x8 cube that you can decorate for the holidays. Now, who doesn't want in on something like that? Any takers? Corporate America? So, needless to say, I am not into corporate America. I do not run my company like corporate America. But I'm going to give you a little bit of history of where I started and where I am today, and some of my philosophies behind the company. And by the way, this is very interactive, so if there are any questions, comments, you don't like a joke I put up here, I offend someone, raise your hand or jump up and down. Please be as outward as possible. I love interaction with anybody here. So here's my career path. I was like a database kind of programmer, 1997 to 99, at a company called Brook Trout Technology that does not exist anymore. They were right off 128. Went to EF Education, which, anybody heard that here? It's a very young company. They like to underpay their employees and fill them up with booze as ways to get them to mingle and go together. It's a very interesting trick that a lot of companies do. Like I said, I'm not a fan of corporate America. So I was a software engineer there. I did learn a lot, however. I learned a lot about SQL and web development, worked with classic ASP, learned all about the web and how all the data is exchanged back and forth, learned all about databases. It's amazing when you actually have real life problems to solve. So I do have to say, as much as I had a negative experience there, I learned a ton and still use that foundational stuff today. Then I went to a CRM consulting company. Does anybody here know what CRM is? Anybody not know what it is? Okay, CRM is customer relationship management. Essentially what it is a database of all the people that you're going to work with. So your leads, the people that might buy your product, your companies that you're working with, and then your sales opportunities. So potential sales that you might make that would make up a pipeline or a funnel. And I went to Core Solutions, and they were a small consulting company. I saw a bunch of guys running this shop, and they did a pretty good job. But what I kind of found from it was, I thought to myself, you know, these guys are no smarter than I am. I wonder if I could do that someday. Wouldn't that be cool? I was there for 4 years and learned a lot as well. Learned a lot about client-facing, tons of presentation, learned about sales, learned about marketing, and really kind of kept it a bug in the back of my head that maybe I could do that someday, but I didn't know that I ever would. After I was there for 4 years, I went to Interwise, which is in Cambridge, and I was a senior business applications analyst. I had to abbreviate like every word because I couldn't fit it all in. I kept sizing the font down. And after that, I went to an even bigger company called Avid, where I was a CRM manager, so I was a worldwide point of contact for multiple brands. Anybody ever heard of DigiDesign or M-Audio or any of those things? It's mixed media, so video, media, some 3D animation stuff. Close that. So, needless to say, after this 10-year path, I was a little disheartened, and I said, fuck this stuff. That's not the right time for it to go out. I said, I'm out, I'm done. Why does it keep turning off at that point in time? That was like my punchline. You know, I just said, I've had enough. So, I had $4,000 in the bank. Went back to school for 3D animations, because video games were always my passion, what I always wanted to do. I did consider a career at Subway, because I said, I don't care if I have to work at Subway. This is literally something that I told my parents and everything. I don't care if I have to work at Subway. I just cannot do this corporate America stuff anymore. This is not working for me. So I'm not a sandwich artist, but I am a consultant. So how I got my start is I actually started replying to Craigslist ads. I had noticed every time I either was laid off for a job or left a job, I was laid off from a job, and then they called me the next day and said, oh, can you do some contract work for us in the meantime? And I was very surprised by that. And contract work pays a lot. So I was amazed at how much money I was able to make just with a couple contract jobs. And I told my girlfriend at the time, wife now, you know, I might only make like $40,000 or $50,000 a year. I just can't do this anymore. So I was in school for 3D animation. That lasted a whole 2 months, because as I was replying to these Craigslist ads, I started to network a lot. I started going to these meetups. I started meeting with different people, and I started discovering that I was getting clients. I couldn't believe it, right? I was blown away that I was able to get people to pay me, you know, $100 an hour, $125 an hour, and now I'm just an average guy that can do some programming, and I know a little bit about this stuff. So after after a couple months, I really built up a lot of traction, and I said, wow, I'm going to drop this 3D animation thing, because I'm going to be competing with people your age, right, that would graduate and be really hungry, and you know, I'm not going to be able to compete with them. You know, I'm a little bit older. I don't have, you know, the stamina probably that you guys do, and I just decided I was going to try to grow this business out and see where it's gone. So now we'll talk a little bit about. I keep stepping on this. I'll talk a little bit about us and who we are and what we do. Here we go. Yep. So I started the company in 2009. Graduated, like I said, computer science. We're currently 9 employees. There are 7 full-timers and 2 contractors. If if anybody here is interested, I strongly encourage you to come over and talk to me or one of the three guys in the back. We like go-getters. We like people that are interested in learning, people that are, you know.
Can I tell a quick thing too about sort of how I got introduced to Chris was in, I think 2012 or 13 when we had a student, Liam Stokinger, who was a student who I knew well, who in the math department knows well, who graduated and is in Jeremy's class here. And he just went to a career fair, like we had one last week. That's why I didn't schedule a career lecture last week. And he just went to a career fair, and Chris was there, and he just was Liam. He's a very nice guy and smart and engaging. And he just talked to Chris, and they just spoke. And Chris is like, you know, I'm really interested in interviewing you. And so he interviewed, and it went really well. And he worked there.
Yeah.
Did a great job for you.
Liam was our first co-op. I couldn't believe, like I was saying before, that I was actually had a little table at the career fair here. I just never would have thought that would.
He was a first-year student. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Now he's doing very well.
And at that time, I had one other employee, and we hired Liam. Just kind of roll the dice, see what happened. And now there's three guys in the back that are full time for us, and they're doing a great job. So again, strongly encourage, if you have an interest in this stuff, come talk to us. So our focus is on Salesforce.com. So I talked about CRM before. That's kind of the core of what the product is. So it's sales and marketing software. Every company needs sales, or they're not a company, right? If they're not selling something, unless you're some specific interest or nonprofit or something like that. If you don't have sales, you're going under. So people need to track their sales, they need to track their activity, and they want to track salespeople. And that's sort of what this software does. But it's actually a full development platform that's all built in the cloud. You hear cloud computing everywhere, but 10 years ago, or even like 6 or 7, you didn't hear that. It wasn't like on TV and stuff. They're actually the pioneer of all that stuff. So if you look up Mark Benioff or Salesforce and cloud computing, like they're the ones that actually started the entire revolution and changed everything. I encourage you to look it up and check it out. It's pretty neat. So in the last 7.5 years, we've worked with around 330 different companies, ranging in all different sizes, from really, really big to really, really small. At this point in time, we kind of have a different focus. For the first 4 years, we're rapidly turning out new implementation after new implementation, and now we're working with more mature customers with larger budgets. We do a ton of custom development, so as we've evolved, like I said, working with more mature customers that have really specialized needs, that we're building business applications for them on this platform. And you have to remember that this tool is used for everything in the company. So there's sales and marketing, but then you start tying in your invoice data and your timesheet data and your vacation data and your HR data so it becomes an ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning. And business processes is just another thing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the software industry and our expertise. We are definitely not your run-of-the-mill programmers or just technical people. I consider us business people first and foremost. So we come in and we advise people on how to structure their data, and then we actually go and implement it. We have different teams that sort of face with the client and really discern and dissect their business and determine what it is that we need to build out. This is no offense to any computer science guys. I was a computer science guy, but math majors seem to have better soft skills than other majors. Does anybody not know what soft skills are? Soft skills are people skills.
She's a math faculty member.
The math, I swear, the
She
math
has
majors,
none.
Benson,
I do
no
not
offense
have
to you either. The math majors just seem to have really good soft skills. So like Jeremy and Jack, really good on the phone with clients, Aaron Benson too. But that is a huge win, right? It's not just about the code that you can write and what you output. It's about what value can you bring. And being able to communicate is like the #1 thing. I tell Jack and the team all the time. I said, what we do is actually not even that hard. The hardest thing about our job is communication. If you're communicating all the way from A to Z, you're going to be fine. You can miss a deadline by months if you're communicating about it the whole time. If you surprise someone and you have a delivery due next week and you say, oh, it's delayed, sorry, something happened, you're screwed, right? The client's gonna be pissed if you communicate. It's just like a relationship. If anybody here is in a relationship, like if you're communicating with your spouse, things are great. If you're holding things back, things aren't going so well. So we work with all the top-notch business applications out there. You guys probably aren't overly familiar with them because you're students, but if anything, I would encourage you to look into Salesforce a little bit. The Salesforce, HubSpot, Box.com, Google Apps, you probably know Google Apps. And key point is we're lean enough to pivot where necessary. We're partners with all these different companies, but if something bigger and better comes along, I have no problem pivoting. I don't think anybody's going to uproot Salesforce, but I always kind of have my eye on what else is coming. So I have some core values. These are not set in stone. These are just something that I whipped together today. Everybody that I work with is a professional, and I treat them that way, and everybody treats everybody that way. There's no totem pole. There's no hierarchy. We run a flat organization. Anybody can come to anybody to talk about anything, right? There's no clock watching. People can work from wherever they want. If you want to go away for a week and work from your parents' house or whatever, that's fine, but you're accountable. Everybody needs to respect each other. Everyone's a major contributor. If you're not pulling your weight, it gets found out right away, or if you don't log your time, Jeremy. It gets found out right away. Obviously, these guys do pull their weight, and the other team members that we have. And craftsmanship is just something I like to throw in there. And kind of think about it as like, if you're painting a dresser of drawers, like painting the back of the drawer, like nobody's ever going to see that. But taking a lot of pride in your work is a big thing, right? So I just like to throw that in there as something to kind of align. Now I just have some talking points here. Define and maximize your skill set is the best thing you can do for your career. Who's smarter, the guy that gets a 4.0 that can solve complex problems, or the guy who hires that person? Guess what? I was not the 4.0 guy here. Those guys back there were, right? I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. But I found out that my strength really lies in dealing with people, being able to sell, being able to manage. I'm very strong technically, but I will never be a better programmer than those guys, ever. And that's okay. And for a long time, I actually struggled with it and felt like, oh, I can't believe like they can do that so fast. Or guess what? That's just not my strong suit. And just like, we have complementary skills with each other, right? And the other big takeaway is the real world is unrelenting and unforgiving. This is something that you don't, I don't think I realized until I was a little bit older, that people really expect high quality work. If you want to, I don't want to go verbatim on what I had, but if you want to skate through life, you can go work at a cube farm, right? You can hide in those cubes. You can show up at 9 and you can leave at 5. And a lot of people do that. Actually, probably the majority of people do that. If you're really driven and motivated, just find something that you like and that you want to do. And you don't have to know now, but don't be afraid, right? That's the one thing. I've talked to a bunch of people. I met with a woman earlier today that said, I could never start my own company. And it's fear that holds you back. While you're young, you don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage, multiple car payments, and all this other stuff. Like, now's the time that you can actually do whatever the heck you want. Like, this is really cool. Like, it's stuff that I was like, yeah, I heard it all the time, and I never really paid attention. And then now that I'm old, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense back then. Blah, blah, blah. Having not only great mathematical skills, but people skills are huge. I kind of mentioned that before. It's so important. Like, if you're not a good public speaker, that's okay. You can work on that, right? But don't be shy. Like, get out there. Put yourself out there. Put yourself in situations, whether they be little social gatherings or whatever. It's also, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's one that you've heard a million times before. But there's no way my company would be where it was at if it wasn't for everybody that's involved in the company, right? I'm only one person. I have a certain set of skills, and I can squeak by in certain technical areas. But it's really the cohesiveness of everybody together contributing. There's always going to be someone smarter than you, someone better looking, for me anyway. That's very common. But all you can deliver is the best that you can deliver, right? Luck is a big thing. Everyone comes across luck. It's just a matter of capitalizing it when it strikes. So, you know, people can be down on their luck or they have a bad luck streak, but if you see an opportunity, I encourage you to seize it and have, you know, just attack when you can, because I kind of fell into this. I'm lucky. I'm lucky in the technology that I chose. I'm lucky